Welcome to the No Nonsense Podcast. I am your host, Chris, with my co host, Jessica.
Hello, hello, everyone.
I've said before that Jessica's been out doing some research on some other projects. Well, guess what? She's finally back.
I wouldn't say it's much research, but you don't have a whole lot to do when you're snowed in.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about the devil's cocaine.
Well, I have to because, you know, inquiring minds want to know. Maybe there might be somebody out there wondering, well, they was talking about the snow the other day. So now we got an additional 3 inches today. Great, thanks. And
Awesome.
yeah, awesome, amazing. And then I looked at the weather because it's like, please no more. And then it says Sunday we're likely to get an inch or more. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is this ever going to go away? Of course, it's crazy. I love the cold. I just don't need all the snow so I can't get out and do things that I need to do. But anyway, so thankfully, we're seeing hopefully a break. Finally, spring may be popping its head out of the what's that? Pocahontas
Uh,
Tahili.
you mean
in that in that one.
it's
I'll got you.
Puxatawny Phil, and he did see his shadow.
See, he knows. But anyway, so Tuesday it looks like we're going to have a shift for us where it's going to get warm enough to melt all this crap off. So fingers crossed on that. And I was telling Chris, I was like, all this AI, all this intelligence, all this technology advancements, blah 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 blah. It's been like 2 weeks since we haven't been able to get any kind of deliveries or mail, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's so annoying. I'm telling you, it's so annoying. But it just makes you wonder. Okay, with all these advancements, like, where's my drone dropping off my stuff?
Yeah, not here.
No, not here. So it's like whatever. One day soon, I'm sure of it.
When we were kids and it snowed, we was like all happy and everything. And then once you get an adult, it's like I don't want this crap anymore.
Well, I'm fine with it for a day or two, and then it can go away.
Yeah,
You
like
don't need to stick around. It's not my friend. It can go away. But you know, all that crazy stuff and talking about AI and these people. I don't know. It makes me think of because we talked about some of the things that I enjoy watching. So I was watching something. All I don't want to get political. I don't want to talk about any of that craziness because people are staunchly on one side or another. Let's not play that. But when they were talking about something I was watching was talking about the Epstein files and some things that had came out, and I guess that I don't know too much about Pizzagate, but and Chris is like, "What?" But
yeah, you said food.
yeah, it's so not what you think it is. It was a way for dirty old men to order women. And yeah. So and there was different ways they got around. And this is reference pizza gate like no, I'm sorry. Pizza, the word pizza in the Epstein files is mentioned 911 times. 911 times in the Epstein files. They're talking about pizza. There ain't nobody that likes pizza that much. Not even Pizza Hut talks about pizza that much. I'm just saying. So there is something to that. I'm not going to get into the specifics or details, and it depends on who you listen to and what. If you want to know the truth, you're going to have to go out there and read it yourself. That's what I know about it, and I haven't done
Mm,
that, so don't
Yeah,
ask me.
yeah. Everybody, do your own
But
research on your own stuff. We're just
absolutely.
giving you the news.
And then the person I was watching talked about that there's because obviously from my understanding because I'm I'm behind the times too, Chris, so don't feel bad. But from my understanding, everybody was m- talking about Pizzagate. There was undermurming rumors, things that it was exposed by a YouTuber. He was coming out and putting his credentials on the line saying, hey, there's something to this. And then we find out years later when the Epstein files, yeah, there was something to that. And then that they also have broadened into people had pointed out things that were on Etsy. I think it was in 2020, if I don't quote me on that, but it was somewhere in that area. Um, and it was they call it, of course, Etsy Gate. Everything's Gate. Uh,
Wayfair, just like what I
oh,
need.
we ain't got there yet, but Etsy Gate, they were selling these weird looking portraits, well, paintings, I guess. I don't know if they were all paintings or digitally created. I don't know. The one that the person discussing this that I watched showed a couple of them. They're just weird. Had like little cherubs kids in it and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, but the pricing and the descriptions is all you needed to know about it. It wasn't in actuality the portrait that was for sale. The price was insane. It was like 12 to $15,000. I mean, these were extraordinary numbered, you know.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it was saying things like you can pick your own color. There's a variety of choices available, and different uh, all come with the same packaging. And it just there was things the way that it was described. It was like, okay, that's very suspicious. And it would even say, I don't know. You have to, if you're interested in that kind of thing, just go out there and read about Etsy Gate. And then Chris brought up Wayfair Gate. Oh my goodness, they were selling cabinets like just what you'd find in somebody's garage for a utility cabinet, and they were like 13, 12, 15, 10. And
Did
the
they have
names
like
of
drugs in them
these,
or something?
no, the names on each one of these were, you could go back and like it was Aaliyah, and then there was an Aaliyah that was a young girl that was taken from
Hmm.
a city a week or two before that. There was 5 or 6 examples of from this one seller. It had a weird name. Um, this one seller was selling these cabinets, and they were selling them for like $10 to $15,000, and saying things that you knew that it was some you were buying something that was a child. I mean, I don't know how you could explain it any other way. Again, if you're interested in stuff, you might want to go down that rabbit hole. I had a fun time listening to that. So that's my end of where my brain went. Now we're going to talk a little bit about a show we got to enjoy when we was snowed in.
Yeah. This is also one of Jess's projects I mentioned before when she's out doing research.
Yeah, I like this kind of research, just watching stuff. Um, the his and hers, actually, I asked handy dandy Chat GPT to give us a little synopsis here that I'll read for everybody. His and Hers is a 6-episode American mystery thriller adapted by the best-selling 2020 novel by Alice Finney. It premiered on Netflix on January 28, 2026, and stars Tessa Thompson and John Bernthal as the fractured couple dragged into each other's lives by a chilling murder in their Georgia hometown. Set against the humid backdrop of Atlanta and, I don't know how to say this, so we'll spell it Dahlonega, Georgia. The drama unfolds when Anna Andrews, a once prominent news anchor who has withdrawn from her career and personal life, hears about a brutal killing in the town where she grew up. Compelled by professional instinct and unanswered wounds from her past, Anna returns home to investigate. But the lead investigator on this case is her estranged husband, Detective Jack Harper. And as they dig deeper, their secrets, their personal history, the conflicting motives blur into a line between truth and deception. The series constantly challenges the audience to decide whose version of the events you trust, his side or hers. So it was a very, very good show. It's a 6 episode. I think they last anywhere between 40 to 50 minutes on average.
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes to an hour roughly.
Yeah, and great cast, phenomenal cast. So
Okay, so first of all, for all you Marvel people out there, Tessa Thompson, Valkyrie, and John Berthel, the Punisher.
now is Rebecca Rittenhouse uh, the girl that plays Jessica Jones? Are
No,
they related?
no.
Okay,
Jessica Jones is played by Ritter.
Ritter. Okay, so Rebecca Rittenhouse plays Lexi in this, but the cast is Tessa Thompson as Anna, John Bernthal as Jack, uh, Pablo Scriber by Richard as Richard, Rebecca Rittenhouse is Lexi, Sunita Mani is Priya, Crystal Fox plays Anna's mom, and to round out the cast as Jack's sister is Marin Ireland. Great cast, phenomenal cast. That I will also mention that the husband, I didn't write his name down. I can't remember, but if you watch True Blood, he's Andy Baleflower um, in that series. So,
Yeah, we that's one thing that we watched all the way up into the end and for the fight the
well,
first.
I've watched it several times.
Yeah, I just didn't get to finish the last what, 3 episodes?
Two or three, yeah. It's like, why did you watch all those episodes? And then you don't know how, of course, I don't know if you've read the books. We'll talk about that a different day. The difference between the books and the series True Blood. Okay. So anyway, back to his and hers. So in the first episode, we're set in this town in Georgia,
Mhm.
and Anna's coming back after she's been gone for years.
Yeah.
And
She's been in Atlanta.
and and like I said read earlier,
Mhm.
she finds out about this murder that happens in her hometown. So, whether it's her instinct or it's just everything draws her back home, and she wants to find out what's going on, what has happened. And she finds out when she goes there, after talking to her boss at the TV channel. He says, yeah, fine, whatever, go out there. And she finds out that her husband Jack, played
Mhm.
by,
John Berthel.
yes, is the
Yeah.
lead investigator.
And during this whole exchange, like he gets on the scene and everything, and there's always starting to be people that's lining up and all this. So he has all of his like other officers pushing the TV crew and everything back.
Yep, Priya's trying her very best, and at this time, I guess you could say she's somewhat of a rookie because she's playing under Berthel's character. Essentially, she's his second in command, if you will. I didn't quite understand if that was she was technically getting trained or if she was just tagged along. They were partnered together.
Yeah, they were partnered. He was considered the chief deputy
Yeah,
and or the second roughly in command over
yeah. He was lead investigator on the
on the
case.
case. Yeah.
And of course, like you said, they were pushing them back, but people had already trampled all over the woods and whatnot.
Yeah, there
And then
was footprints that they was trying to get people to
this is a small town that this occurred in.
where if you fart and it offends somebody, someone's going to come to your mother's house and say, "Hey, he farted."
And more too, that people are going to come out and see, oh, what's going on? And then, the police may not have the standard protocols put in place as quickly as maybe other communities would. So it took them a little bit to get the scene locked down and everything. But, we also get to find out that while Anna has been away, her mother has gotten ill. She's got some sort of dementia that she starts having problems with while Anna's away.
And John Berthel's character has been going there and trying to take care of her from time to time.
Right. And which is, was very shocking, I guess you could say, to Anna for a short time. It took her a minute to think, what's his motive here, when he really didn't have a motive. He just cares about, she finds out eventually, her and he obviously cares about her mom, and he's taking care of her, bringing her groceries, making sure because she forgets little things. She
That she's
does,
not eating, and yeah.
yeah. And at the end of that episode, um, Anna pulls out a box that is in her mom's closet,
Mhm.
and that box,
Wait, we gotta back up. So, Anna gets on scene at the murder, okay? And when John Berthel comes out to give, like, this little statement in front of the, news people, he doesn't see her there, and he starts saying, "Hey, we'll let people know as soon as we find something, blah, 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 blah," and off in the distance, you hear, "Did you know her, Jack?"
which was his ex-wife's,
Mhm.
Anna. But yeah, at the end, that box, if you're going to watch the show, and of course, if you've already watched the show, you know that that box is important. But if you have watched the show, we're going to talk a little bit up to through episode 3, and then if you're going to watch it, you're going to want to stop listening there with us
And
at
then
least
come
until,
back.
yeah, until you finish watching it. And if you don't care about spoilers and you'll watch it anyway, then I guess you just keep on listening. But that box is going to be a vital
It
part of
yeah, it
the
has a
story
lot of
as it
clues in it.
continues. And then we pick up in episode 2, and Priya and Jack are both talking to the husband of the girl that gets killed. And we find out that this girl was friends with Anna and Zoe, which is gonna we find out is Jack's sister.
Sister. They was all in this little clique.
Yeah, you're introduced in the first episode to his sister very briefly. Her and her children. He's staying there with his sister anyway. Um, but we find out in episode 2 that there's a connection there between Zoe and
Anna
Anna and the principal at the school that they used to go to. They all went to.
and the dead girl.
Yes, and so in episode 2, she actually we find out about the teacher as this friend group. In that episode, she actually goes and visits the teacher and confronts her and discusses some things from their past that uh, has brought up some things, and we'll go a little bit further with that, but I don't want to say too much on that just yet. But they start arguing and fighting about everything. And while in the episode, we're dealing with um, Jack thinking that it's the husband. It has to be the husband. He looks suspicious. He's doing things that seem odd. He's went and thrown trash out, and then they go look in the trash, and it's like whips and chains excite me kind of stuff. So you know, he's just very sus. That's somebody that immediately hits the radars.
Yeah.
And again, that's the person I was talking about, Andy Bellflower, same actor. He's played a couple of good characters. But can you think of anything else in episode 2 that's really prominent that we need to mention?
No, the only thing else is that when he goes and throws away the his suit that he has, and the suit is like a gimp suit pretty much, and he goes and throws it away, and Priya has been stuck out at done a stakeout at his house.
Yeah, so she goes and finds it, and it's like, what are you gonna think when you find something like that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh well, maybe. Well, I don't know. He might not be suspect, but this is kind of sus.
Yeah. Chains and whips excite me, I guess.
Right. And then we go into episode 3, and of course, Anna's this whole time she's starting to really dig in and try to help her mom, and she's starting to noticing these little things that her the little things that John was there for. Her mom forgetting things, or maybe serving her something that doesn't make any sense. These
Y-
little hints and little clues that her
She was
mom's not quite right.
yeah, she said, "Hey, sit down in here and I'll fix you some eggs." And she cracked some eggs and threw the the eggs and the shells in with it. And was like, hey, here you go.
Yeah, everything was totally normal. The conversation was normal. That everything was flowing normal, and Anna was getting that sense of home that you see it on her face. You can feel it. And then when her mom sets the plate in front of her and she finds eggshells in the eggs, it's like, oh man. And it really, I think, hit home with her right then and there. And in that episode, she also gets an opportunity to get back in the anchor because we find out that when Anna left, she was the anchor for this news outlet until unfortunately she left the area and of course lost her job. So she nearly gets another chance back, but of course, the little blonde that they've chosen to replace her, which is played by Rebecca Rittenhouse, and it's Lexi, is her name,
Mm-hmm.
comes in just in time to take over. So it was kind of an all for naught. You kind of feel sorry for Anna at that point.
Dun dun dun.
and and then we get later on into the episode and Jack and Zoe start arguing because she finds out some of his secrets. She starts questioning him and she's like, "What was you doing that night?" and all this stuff. And we come to find out Jack was actually with
The
the
dead girl. Yeah.
the dead girl. So this puts Jack on a bit of a spiral, of course, in trying to cover his tracks and also not act too weird
Oh,
and
yeah. The
draw
whole him
attention.
going to the morgue and saying, "Oh, I lost my wedding ring."
Yeah, trying to look for a wedding ring. And the morgue continually asking for DNA samples so that they can pair it to the scene so that they
Mm-hmm.
can rule hit both him and Pariah out. And he
And
keeps saying,
I'll
"Oh,
get
I'll do
to
it
it. We're
later. I've
busy.
got
Yeah.
this, I've got that." So now at this point, as we said, if you don't want any spoilers, if you don't want to find out, if you don't want to hear anything that's going to let some cats out of the bag, you need to stop listening now.
And
Uh,
then come back.
yeah,
But
because
because guys,
this was a good show.
yeah, it there was a lot of things. Now, if you want, I can contest to this. I After the second or third episode, I said I think I know who the killer is.
And it's funny because I said in the first episode who I thought it was, and I mentioned the person it ended up being, and I never thought of that it was really this person again until I found out. So it's kind of funny that I caught it at the beginning and didn't catch the scent until the end. But like I said, so stop here and we'll see you come back at 23 minutes and you should be good.
Yeah,
Okay, so in the episode 4, of course, now at this point, Priya has found out that Jack has told them not to do a trace on the girl's phone
yeah.
so that his phone number doesn't show up in her call logs. And it's like, uh-oh, Priya's like, what's he hiding? She's still not thinking necessarily 100% that he did it, but it puts her a little higher on her list. He becomes, I think, in her eyes, a bit of a lead suspect. And Jack starts getting questioned after they have a town hall. They talk about some of the updates how the ongoing investigation is going, and Jack gets questioned. It gets all heated, and then afterwards, his boss wants to talk to him, so he has to sit down and get rung through it and saying, "Did you have anything to do with this?" "No, I didn't." And he's swearing up and down and saying, "I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything." And that
And
that pretty much kind of
should I go ahead and do the big reveal here about it?
I don't know. Go ahead.
Jack and the dead girl, they were having and
Already
they was
said that.
meeting. Yeah, they was meeting up and they was all doing kicking the
Scooting
boot.
booty.
Yeah,
They were knocking boots, and then, and all while this storyline with Priya getting on Jack and Jack being questioned and the heat's getting turned up on him, we see Anna start going through some of her past memories. She's going through the box that we mentioned about in first episode, and
And the
she's looking
videotapes
at,
and
yeah, she looks through different things, memory, high school memories, this, that, and the other. She going through her cassette tapes because as a p- potential future anchor, she was already recording herself doing news and casts and listening to herself and practicing. And then she comes across this one specific video.
and that that explains a lot,
Yes.
that video.
Yeah. What we come to find out is that Zoe and the lady, oh, we forgot to mention that in episode 3, we find out that the principal gets um,
Off.
killed. Yeah. We found out she got killed. And of course, they're on Anna and everybody else for that. But um,
So,
like I said,
everybody that
we
was
find out
in
that that lady, as well as Zoe, yes, all of them wear this bracelet, and that's how
that's
it
how they start putting the pieces together.
exactly. And Jack knows this. Priya figures it out. Everybody figures this tie, and uh, you see that in this video. You see this represented in the box, and you see these girls on whose birthday was it? It was, I think it was Anna's, wasn't it?
Yep, you understand this?
They're out in the woods at this little campfire, and they're woo partying and drinking, and then all of a sudden these older boys come in the scene, and one thing leads to another, and there's a plus size girl there, and they wanted to take advantage of her, but Anna stopped that, and unfortunately, that girl saw it as all of them were picking on her. So she jumps up, runs away, even though Anna was the one that saved her. And the boys are grabbing her
Yeah,
and
and
taking advantage of her at this point, and that girl still runs away, and that's what we find out in that episode.
yep.
Um, then we go to episode 5 where Jack's still spinning out. He is like, "Oh
He's
gosh."
crashing
Yeah.
fast.
And we but the main thing, I think, cuz I really want to get to episode 6. The main thing that we find out at the end of episode 5 is that Richard, he's uh, tied a little further into this crew. We find out because uh, Anna goes to his place. She ends up, even though she don't want to. This is supposed to be Richard and Lexi's place, and she goes to this place and she starts looking around and figures out that Richard has a little more to do with her past than
Mhm.
what she realized. Then we go into episode 6 where everything is revealed. We find out that um, this so-called friend of Anna, uh,
Rittenhouse,
yes,
Lexi.
yeah, is not who she thinks it is. What comes to reality is there was, I guess, two girls in this family with this plus size girl, and her sister gets off in a boating accident, and she assumes the role of her sister, and
And she dropped, so it's the fact it's the big
major
girl.
weight. Yeah,
Yeah.
she has plastic surgery. This all comes to light to Anna as she starts looking at pictures. She pulls this picture away and sees the plus size girl before she has all this surgery done and puts it all together and realizes who Lexi actually is. All this time, she's the one that she tried to save in those woods, who turned her back on her and ran away. And now, all these years later, she comes face to face with this woman. As she gets away from Richard, she comes face to face with this woman, with Lexi looking at her with anger and just venom.
Yeah, because she was
She
taking
sees
the
her as
as
one
the
of
threat.
the, yes, she sees all 3 of those girls as equals in what could have happened to her. She don't see what did happen to Anna. and she goes to shoot Anna. Thankfully, Jack jumps in just in time, grabs Anna, and Priya sees it and shoots through the window and shoots the lady dead. We're like, oh, wow. Shoo, oh my goodness. I had no idea that that crazy girl was that one. I thought this plus size girl maybe was doing it, but I thought this was going to be another character they were bringing in. No, this girl has been here from the beginning.
Beginning.
So it's like, wow, that in itself is an amazing story, right? But that's not who really did it.
That's not the one that's been doing all the killings.
No, no, no,
We
no.
also forgot to mention that Jack's sister is off during all this.
Yes, unfortunately, I think that she came to realize the sins of her past through some of the things that she went through in her adulthood. But unfortunately, she was found at the end of a very sharp blade, so she passed in the bathtub.
Hmm.
And we find out that all of these murders all along was no other than the sweet and innocent.
Person that has dementia. Mother.
Yes, of all people, Anna's mother. She writes, "Love my grandbabies as I've loved you," and ends that statement with the word relentless. So, this was a story all along about a mother's relentless love for her child, that she would do anything and everything to protect that child, no matter what it took. And all
So
the times that she was having these so called dementia episodes, when she was running out in the middle of town without any clothes on, when she was found, anything that was out of ordinary was there was a purpose.
it
She was
was,
running around naked because she had just stabbed a lady in the woods.
yeah,
Like,
but it looks like a dementia act.
yes. I mean, talk about an amazing uh, twist at the end to this story. A- Again, the very first episode, I got a glimmer. I got it's kind of odd that that box is in, especially when I reflected back. I guess I got it a little bit again when she was looking in the box and we found out about her story, but I still didn't think, no, no, no. You talk yourself right out of that, and didn't think anything about it, especially as the heat grew towards the end, towards it having to be one of these girls, and it specifically was likely the plus size girl because she was mad at the rest of them.
Yeah, because they are the whole you're picking on me and
So this was written perfectly to give you that false ending of finality, I guess you could say. Okay, it was the plus size girl. Not really. All she tried to do was kill Anna. In the end, it was actually Anna's mom that killed them all. So, and,
because if you think about it, she was the one that was going back and watching all these videos and seeing.
and that's exact. She saw what had happened to her daughter
Mhm.
and the pain that created in her daughter's life. And then we also find out in the story that poor Jack and Anna had lost a child, and that's what why they became estranged. So it's a very,
It was a very good story.
absolutely great cast, great story. Would highly recommend the show for sure. Unfortunately, it's one of those where you get it one time and it's not going to come out with another season, or I don't know how they would do that anyway. So,
No, it's a one and
one
done.
and done, but it was a good one and done.
So we've also got other projects. I mentioned this one, but we also have other projects that we're going to be doing. We have what was the other project that we?
Well, we finished watching The Donahue Family. We can always talk about that. That was a good show.
Yeah, yeah, that it was
Or
very.
The Donahue Murder, or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, that was fucked up. I'm sorry, but it was.
Well, I mean, the killer I mean, he or she, I guess you could say, was kind of erratic throughout. So why would it be a surprise at the end? So,
Yeah, but I mean, just the way that you see it go down,
Yeah, it's kind of
and
crazy.
I don't want to get in too much to it, but you see this one person that has been through this life altering change, and he's starting to realize, yeah, I've got to own up for my stuff, and da 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 da, and then when he starts like um doing the change on himself, he dies,
Yeah.
and it's like, wow.
And then, I mean, there's all kinds of things that we enjoy watching that anything that Netflix or Hulu or HBO Max or what else do we have? Pretty much all the basics. So,
Stars.
yeah, stars. So if there's any recommendations out there, of course, we'll listen. We never know what we'll watch and what will pique our interest, but if it does, we'll review and let you guys know about it.
Yeah. Like I said, you can always email me. My email address is also on Podbean, but I'll also go ahead and tell you now it's here. It's B as in boy, I as in ice cream, O as in ostrich, H as in Henry, Z as in Zulu, R as in Ralph, D as in dog, 2011 at gmail.com. So it's going to be a funky version of Biohazard.
That's right. And we've had some people write in and we love to hear from you guys. So if you're interested in what we have to say, if any topics are of interest to you, I know that we've talked a little bit about my love to watch police b- body video cams. I love to watch those. I think they're amazing.
We
The
also had a female cop write
Yes,
into us.
yes, and we greatly appreciate that. And I greatly enjoy watching the body videos because it gives you the real version. You're not seeing an uncut, censored version that's telling one side or another's person side. You're actually seeing what the police force has to go through day in and day out and the crazy people that they deal with. Lord have mercy. Oh my goodness. I don't know how, you know, I, when I first started working very young in my adult career, I had to do for a short time some telemarketing, and that I thought was the worst job ever. I had a sign up in my cubicle that said "Bang head here" because it was that bad. And then I look at what the police force has to go through all the time, and I'm like, no, no, they should have like the permanent sign that says "Bang your head here," and it should be for the people that are crazy. I'm telling you what now, not for them, for, like so that they can take their frustration. It's okay, just bang their head right here. Oh my goodness. That's what a lot of these people's problem is. They ain't never had anybody tell them no, and then when a policeman has to tell them no, they have an absolute meltdown. I've heard women sound like they're 3 years old. It's like, what are we doing?
And it's funny because Jess's mom is in there sometimes watching all this with her, and she's like, I would smack her upside the head.
She
And
needs a whooping,
yeah, she needs a whooping. And it gets comical because it's like,
and
yeah,
she ain't wrong. It's like, well, you ain't wrong. Oh my. So, yeah, we I much enjoy things like that. I like to watch DUI arrests. I like to watch uh, people that steal. Sometimes the high speed chases, if it's I don't if it's not too long. Um,
I don't know. The one that we watched today about the guy that crashed his car into the hotel.
no, it was a woman that
Yeah,
crashed, and the guy. I
crashed
gotta shout
out.
out Leo Lush. Um, he does brain worms. Leo Lush on YouTube. Uh, Lush Life. That's what it is. Lush Life. He covered this today, and so some drunk lady crashed her vehicle into the front of his hotel room. Guy was just laying. I think he was drunk, just laying in the bed minding his own business. The next thing he knows, there's a car in his uh, hotel room, and he's laying like sitting in the floor beside his bed. We come to find out later that the person that was staying beside him had pulled all the wreckage off of him, and I guess
Mhm.
he probably moved there because he said the guy's leg was broke. But the cop said, uh, "What are you doing? Or are you okay?" or something to that effect. And the guy said, "There's a car
There's
in
an
the
effing car, yeah.
in the middle of my hotel room." Like, are you kidding? Why are you asking me if I'm okay?
Are
Did
you
you not
yeah.
see this car?
You not
Hello.
see hello?
It was just funny. It was a good one.
Yeah, he crashed out, that was funny.
Oh man.
But
I mean, some of them are very comical. There are some absolutely goofs of drunks, and then you have the crazies, and then you have the ones that don't do anything. And then you have the ones that cry like they're two. I mean, there's just, you see all the rainbows of feelings and emotions when it comes to alcohol and DUI arrests. Oh my goodness.
yeah, and I've said this before and I'm saying it again. I'm glad I can't drink.
I'm glad I'm not dumb enough to drink and get behind the wheel of a vehicle.
Yeah, always be a DD. Come on, always have at least some sort of a way to get back.
And I don't know about anybody else, but it's like once you've drunk yourself to the status of puking, I'm not a puke and rally gal. Like, I'm not going that level. No, thank you, ma'am. Uh.
Yeah, puke and rally.
No.
No,
Mm-mm.
it, it it's it really goes to show how certain people are just
Glutton
stupid.
for punishment.
Yeah, and stupid. Just plain stupid.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, talk about stupid. Okay, what about the people that uh, go into Walmart and think, well, I'll just switch this tag for a cheaper version, and then I can say I paid for it. It's like, no, you didn't. You didn't pay what you're supposed to, so you didn't pay for it.
Walmart has cameras everywhere.
Yeah, and anybody thieving at this point, they're just making a tally now. They're just waiting until you get to felony level, and then they're going to take your butt to court, and you're going to spend some time in jail. So I don't know
Yeah, they'll
what
let
you
you
think
walk
you're
through the entire
accomplishing.
store. They would let you walk through, change tags, pick stuff up, throw it in.
And
The
once you hit a certain dollar amount, whatever that
then they
felony
get you.
level, yeah. So at this point, enter at your own risk. And if you want to play stupid games, then expect to win stupid prizes. That's all I got to say about that.
Uh, the woman that stuck the 12 stakes down her pants
Oh,
was kind of funny.
I've seen an older woman, gray haired older woman, running out with a bunch of steaks in her purse, and the cop's like, "Stop, stop, stop!" Finally, she stops, drops her purse, and steaks just fall out. I've seen somebody put a whole slab of salmon down their pants. I mean, people will do anything and everything. Dude was carrying a backpack trying to take out 4 bags of Snickers. I mean, just craziness, craziness, craziness. If they think they can take it, if it ain't nailed down, they're going to try to take it. If you have that in you, I don't think that you have to want to not be like that. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you because I can't even wrap my head around thinking that direction. Oh, well, everything belongs to me. This world is mine and the world revolves around me. I don't understand that.
And I'm not being mean when I say this. We was raised different though.
Yeah, yeah,
You can tell, and some of these people that's been our age is out doing this crap.
yeah. And I'm thinking, well, I don't know what happened in your life, but you ain't learned too much now, have you? It just takes a little bit of common sense and you hear over and over again the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting
Expecting
different
different results.
results. Yeah. Why are we continuing to, especially like, okay, we're talking about drunks, DUI, 3 DUIs, 4 DUIs. How many do we need before we figure out that, hey,
Well,
alcohol plus
wait a minute.
keys and a vehicle don't equal a good time for me.
Well, think about it. After the second DUI, that's when they start running.
Right? Then we start tacking on extra charges. Let's resist, let's evade. Um, you know, come on.
Let's get pulled out of the car, and then people try to strike a cop, and that's another felony.
Yeah, it's insanity. It's insanity. Anyway,
We when I was an EMT, my favorite thing was be like, yeah, while we learn.
right? Absolutely.
Well, everybody, I guess that's about our time. Is there anything that you want to finish with?
No, just keep safe out there, avoid the crazies, and use some common sense. That's all you have to do.
All right, everybody. We'll see you again next time.